and welcome to Starside Chat, which is the podcast of the YouTube channel Starside Cafe. My name is Aaron, and with me as always is Zach. Hello, Zach.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going well. We've got a big show today.
Hope everyone had a good Memorial Day weekend.
That's true. Did you do any barbecuing?
We did some grilling out. I grilled a salmon thingy. That was pretty good. It was pretty tasty, I gotta say.
You're very healthy in general.
Well, I try, but I don't exercise a lot, so I gotta eat more healthy.
Zach, today is our Pre-E3 show, the first episode of our Pre-E3 show, because E3 is in 2 weeks, but I thought we should get a start on it. We're going to talk a bunch about E3, speculation, things we've heard, rumors, but before we do that, we have a couple of news items.
Yeah, let's talk about this thing that's going on with Bethesda. They have been live streaming since this morning, and no one knows exactly when they're going to actually reveal whatever it is that they're going to reveal, but it's teasing some sort of Fallout related announcement that they're going to make, and no one quite knows what it is.
Speculation I've read is that something will happen in 24 hours from when it went live. So probably tomorrow morning we'll have already posted this, so you'll already know the answer to what we're talking about. But I don't know. What do you think this is? The live stream is just like a picture of a bobblehead or whatever, and or at times it's been like the Fallout Please Stand By. But I was not expecting any Fallout news anytime in the near future. What do you think this could be? Yeah,
I wasn't either. Fallout was probably the furthest, or like the last Bethesda property that I was expecting some sort of new title from. But you were saying you thought maybe there would be like a Fallout 4 for Switch announcement, or like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, like maybe they're bringing the old ones to Switch, which I could see happening.
You brought up New Vegas. I was thinking about this also. What if they what if they did a New Vegas where they just like gave the engine and the assets to another dev team and were just like, make something, and so it's like
how
sort
they
of an offshoot.
Yeah, like how they gave Obsidian Fallout New Vegas, and they made
exactly. So like maybe we're gonna get some kind of crazy offshoot Fallout 4 kind of a thing.
I could see that. I'd be totally on board for that. I'm not sure how many years there was between Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, but maybe the timing's right for that. I'm not sure. But
it's crazy because like this is so close to E3, and this is completely out of left field. Like this would have been a great, hey, guess what we're doing, surprise at their press conference. Like, why? I mean, unless they have other surprises, like, why do this now?
It's true. They did show off, like, Rage 2, specifically because it was leaked in that Walmart leak, which makes sense. So you're like, okay, well, they're going to have to go ahead and explain that one because people already know about it. But nobody knew anything about a Fallout-related release, so why not? Why not wait and save it and have it be something interesting during your E3 press conference?
It's very weird. I really want to know. I'm excited to wake up tomorrow and see whatever this is.
Kind of makes you wonder what they're saving for their E3 press conference.
There was that one quote, I think we talked about it on the podcast, where somebody asked someone important at Bethesda, like, hey, what are you guys showing at E3? And he made some comment like, oh, we're in crunch time right now. We're on... it's a real hell on earth type situation at our offices.
Oh, right.
Which is a reference to Doom 2 Hell on Earth, which would be amazing. And I mean, the word is, we're going to talk about this a little later, but they're working on supposedly 2 new IPs. So, I don't know.
That's true. If people are already kind of speculating about a Doom 2, then why wouldn't that be the thing that they're live streaming right now? Please wait until they announce, Doom 2, and then save the Fallout thing unless, Doom 2 is obviously a bigger thing than the next Fallout.
You know what popped to my head today when I was thinking about this, and I don't know why. Maybe it was because of the lava that's happening in Hawaii, but a tropical Fallout game in Hawaii would be interesting.
Post-apocalyptic Hawaii, yeah, I guess that would be pretty interesting.
Technically still in America.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if
I don't
they
know.
would.
I don't know why I thought of that.
I kind of want them to do a Fallout that's not in America, though.
It would not feel like America in Hawaii.
True.
But you could keep all the weird old-timey stuff. But anyway, something to think about. Maybe we'll do a video on whatever they announce tomorrow. But very quickly, another thing that I think there was not a launch trailer today, but there was a trailer today, announcement trailer maybe, for this Fractured Lands game, which is I think, sort of like Mad Max style battle royale. You have these tricked out cars and it's post-apocalypse. It actually kind of reminds me of Rage 2, except it's a battle royale. So there's a video. If you Google Fractured Lands, you can take a look. Maybe we'll link it in the comments. But it looks pretty interesting. I'm a fan of battle royale games, and this one looks pretty polished. And the vehicle warfare, which I'm usually not on board for, seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, I haven't really seen this yet. I'm curious to see what it's like, but yeah, it does kind of... It's just
something that popped up on my radar.
It does kind of have a little bit of a Mad Max or Borderlands vibe to it.
Moving along, though, we gotta get to this E3 stuff. There's some Xbox Live Games for Gold for June.
Yeah, so they announced today that Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia, Smite Gold Bundle, and 2 Xbox 360 titles, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, and Lego Indiana Jones 2 The Adventure Continues, which are both backwards compatible on the Xbox One, are all free in June. They haven't announced the PS4 ones yet, PS Plus games for June yet. So those are just the Xbox Live Gold games. Are you interested in any of those?
Well, we don't have Xboxes, famously.
That's true.
But I will say that I'm no expert, but Sonic I would classify him as a very blue.
He is very blue, which does lead into our next piece of news, which is a new special edition, very blue PS4 and PS4 Pro. They're like limited edition consoles, and they actually look really kind of cool to me. I don't know if you saw those or not, but
no.
They have like this gold trimming to them as well. They're very stylish, I would say. But they were announced alongside like a list of games that were going to go on sale. I think this is all happening in June as well. Like the special edition PS4s are going to go on sale in June, and then there's going to be this game sale. So God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, MLB The Show 18, Shadow of the Colossus Remastered, Gran Turismo Sport, and the PSVR shooter Farpoint, and I think a bunch of others that they didn't name were going to be a part of this special, like, I guess, summer sales thing that they're doing in June. So if you haven't played God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn, I highly recommend both of those. I
was looking at Shadow of the Colossus because I've been meaning to get that remastered for a long time.
Yeah, don't quote me on it, but I believe they were going to have that for like $20.
That's insane. You're crazy if you don't buy that.
Yeah, and well, same with Horizon. If you haven't played that yet, it's going to be dropping $10 from what it is currently, which I want to say is like $20-$30, which is a really good deal for that game. So definitely look into those when those sales go live. But you were telling me about this next little piece of news, and it has to do...
This is hot off the presses. This is not 3 hours old even.
Very, very hot. That's hot news, as they say.
There's 2 pieces of Pokemon news. One piece I don't really care about. There's some sort of like, I've heard it called free to start game on the Switch right now. It's a Pokemon game called Pokemon Quest, I believe. And it seems fine. I don't really have a lot to say about it. But the bigger news. Pokemon Switch is officially announced. It's coming out November 16th. And there are 2 variations. There's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, because there's always 2 versions for whatever reason, more Pokemon. And it has a bunch of crazy stuff. They're targeting new people. They're targeting people who are currently playing Pokemon Go. There's heavy Pokemon Go integration. Like your phone can now talk to your Switch like through Pokemon Go. There's multiplayer because it only takes 1 Joy-Con to play. So you just swip off 1 Joy-Con, and you can just like move around with the analog stick, and then your friend can pick up the other Joy-Con, shake it, they'll pop into your world. You have 2 people all of a sudden, they have the mechanic of Pokemon Go where it's the slowly pulsating circle. So you use the Joy-Con to throw it, the Pokeball. Also, they have a Pokeball Controller, the first non-Joy-Con Joy-Con that we've seen, that is just a Pokeball with a little analog stick and supposedly some buttons, I would think. You can play the game with it. Also, you can, I guess, like suck a Pokemon into it and then have it with you all the time and like touch it, and the Pokeball will make the noises of the Pokemon that's inside the ball. It's crazy, Zach.
It did look pretty crazy. I'm not even like a super Pokemon fan, but the trailer actually got me excited for the game. It's a really good, very effective trailer. And the most interesting thing to me was the Pokeball Joy-Con.
Yes.
So it is essentially just a Pokeball. It looks exactly like a Pokeball, but the middle button part of the Pokeball is a Joy-Con thumbstick. And we were talking about this before we started recording, and we thought maybe there would be some buttons somewhere on the other side of it. We weren't sure.
There's got to be.
There has to be, probably. But yeah, like you were talking about, it has, like, if you, I guess, touch it, or it acts like you have trapped an actual Pokemon in the Pokeball, which is very, very interesting.
In the trailer, it was like these two posh ladies sit down at this outdoor cafe, and one of them's like, oh, hold on, check this out. And she pulls out a Pokeball and puts it on the table, and it's just like touching it, and you can hear Pikachu making sounds.
Yeah, I always kind of wonder when I watch Nintendo trailers if they've maybe overestimated their audience a little bit.
It's something crazy. Okay, Zach, both of us were talking about this. Neither of us have ever played a Pokemon game. I've played Pokemon Snap, but other than that, I mean, I've played as the Pokemon trainer in Smash, but I've never played a Pokemon game. I think this will be the first Pokemon game that I actually play.
So you're that high on it that you're actually pretty positive about the fact that you're going to get it.
I think so. Also, it was only briefly in the trailer, but in the runaround portion of the game, the graphics looks fine. It's whatever. It's a Pokemon game. But it seemed like Pokemon were just out in the world, which is a new thing. There's not going to be any more just like running through tall grass, and then it zooms into you, and then you're having a battle. You'll be able to see Pokemon in the world and run up to them and capture them, which is a game changer.
Yeah, so the only Pokemon game that I have played is Pokemon Go, and the Pokemon Go integration with this game seemed kind of interesting to me, and it did, like, the game itself on Switch did look kind of a little bit like Pokemon Go, especially in the way you capture a Pokemon. Except you're using a Joy-Con, obviously, and motion controls to like throw the Pokeball. But yeah, otherwise it looked a little bit similar, but I like the idea of them integrating the game with the actual app on your phone, because they showed, I think somebody caught a Pokemon they found on Pokemon Go, and then they were like transfer to the Switch game, and then they were in some like park showing the Pokemon that they had just caught.
It's crazy, because also like I have like a somewhat of a Pokemon Go account. I play it every once in a while. I keep running out of Pokeballs and I don't want to buy them, so. But my girlfriend has been playing Pokemon Go nonstop. So, I mean, does this mean that when she starts the game, she'll have every Pokemon already? That seems kind of crazy. It seems like they should put a limit on that.
Does she have all the Pokemon?
She has a ton. She has a good amount.
I was going to say, I feel like you have to travel to collect all of them,
you'll get all but 4, I think, because there's one you have to go to Japan, and there's one you have to go to Europe, and so on and so forth. But she has a majority of them.
Yeah, that's why one of the reasons why I kind of stopped playing, and also the fact that Iowa weather sucks, and it's not, for most of the year, it's not pleasant to go out and try to catch Pokemon, so.
Zach, it's time to talk about E3.
We do need to talk about E3.
I've laid out the press conferences, except for I did not put in the Devolver Digital one, because I don't know what's going to be at their thing. But I've laid them out in chronological order, so we can talk about them one by one. And the first one is EA.
Yeah, so Battlefield, I guess, has already been revealed.
Has it, though? They only showed, like, literally 45 seconds of gameplay, it seemed like.
Yeah, it was very short, and people aren't sure if that trailer actually had any real gameplay or if it was just like stylized animation that will look similar to what the final gameplay is going to be. There is actually some controversy that's been going on with Battlefield 5 since that reveal.
Oh, really?
And
you're dialed in on controversy.
Well, it always pops up in my news feed, so I end up seeing it an awful lot. But yeah, it has to do with the fact that women are in the game, which seems like a silly thing to be upset about. But I guess they don't like that there are. So there's two pieces to this controversy. So they're upset that there's a woman on the cover of the game, and that there was at least one woman pretty predominantly featured in the trailer as a character, and for some reason that's an issue for some people, which I don't understand. And then the other thing that people have been responding pretty poorly to is all the customization, which I actually thought was really cool, but they've been complaining about that because they think it breaks immersion of like World War II.
What customization?
You know, like how you can customize your weapons and your jacket, and you'll get all these unlocks that you can sort of make your character look how you want them to look. And so is
it going to be like, because didn't in Starfront, or what is it? What is the Star Wars version of Battlefront? Is it Battlefront? Battlefield?
Yeah, you said Battlefront. It is Battlefront.
Yeah. Didn't they do a thing where they had DLC where you could get like a pink Darth Vader?
No, I think people were joking that people wanted that, but that it would be awful and that they shouldn't do that.
Okay, good.
Unless I'm misunderstanding. Because I can see
definitely, if they want it to like look like World War II, there shouldn't be guys rolling around with like a jacket that says YOLO on it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I think the more I've thought about it, the more I realize where people are coming from, because it is supposed to be World War II. And when you think World War II, like media, you think Saving Private Ryan. And then you think, well, what if those soldiers getting on the beach were like wearing goofy hats and had like leather jackets with like weird writing all over it, and like some of them were wearing something wildly different, and it just wouldn't look like real war. So I kind of understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, I'm also like, it's a game, and I'm rarely worried about immersion when it comes to a multiplayer shooter. I just want to like have a good time. And I'm all about unlocks and customization in games. Like, I find that very appealing. So I am kind of two minds about it, and I don't care that there's customization, and I don't really care that much about immersion in my multiplayer shooters, but at the same time, I completely understand why it would bother some people.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go as far as people think they're going to go. Like, they're not going to have, like, I'm trying to think of what a crazy example. Like, you know how you always see gun skins in Counter-Strike that are, like, crazy orange colors and, like, insane, like with skulls on them and stuff?
Stripes or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anything like that's going to happen.
Well, they were looking at this one picture that it was in the concept art that had, like, 4 people standing next to each other, and it did look a lot like that sort of menu screen for PUBG, where you have like 4 people standing there and they're all wearing some weird goofy stuff, and like one of them's bald and one of them has like a mohawk, and they all have like weird different clothing, and like that all makes sense for like PUBG because it's just like this weird semi post-apocalyptic battle royale situation, but World War II, that kind of doesn't make sense. So I think people were complaining that they were doing it just because of games like Fortnite and PUBG and how there's all this customization there. And I don't see that argument because customization has been around long before those games existed. So that's not really an issue either. Anyway, we don't have to talk more about that. I just thought it was worth bringing up.
Anthem.
Speaking of controversy, Anthem will probably be shown off.
Yeah, I think they have confirmed they're going to actually show quite a bit of Anthem, because I know it got pushed back, but it's in the pipeline. Like, it's coming out soonish. Am I right about that? Did it get pushed back to 2019?
Yeah, next year.
Okay, yeah, 2019.
I'm pretty excited to see more from the game. I'm very cautiously optimistic about this game because I still have some fondness for BioWare, if only for the Mass Effect trilogy. And I know...
There are 4 games, Zach.
Don't talk about the last one. It's not... We don't need to get into that. Anyway, I'm very fond of the original Mass Effect trilogy, and I do have hope that they will make something good. The 4th game was a different BioWare.
Oh, really?
So anyway, the good news that has come out of the Battlefield 5 reveal was that they are doing away with season passes. They're doing away with loot boxes. They're doing away with all this like paid stuff. Like they're still going to have like paid customization stuff that's all aesthetic only. It's not pay to win. So that bodes very, very well for like EA trying to get right and trying to regain the trust of fans and trying to earn some goodwill after the disaster that was the last year, like 2017 for them, between Mass Effect Andromeda and what was it? Battlefront. They had a real rough year. It was terrible for them. So I feel like this year is the get right year, and Battlefield 5 is kind of hopefully a sign of things to come, and that means that Anthem will not just be this horrible loot box microtransaction situation that everybody was afraid that it was going to be.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, don't pre-order Anthem, don't, like, EA is gonna get you, but I'm interested to see, I want to see more of like the story elements, because really what they showed last time was sort of you walk through a crowd and then you do a mission and you get a gun, but I want to see more of the world. Like, what is there like is it not like Destiny in that like you go to like a tower basically? I would love it if it was completely different from that, where there's not just some social space you go where you're turning in quests. If there's like, and if it's more of an MMO than Destiny, but
well, I feel like there's gonna be a social, because there's social spaces in all MMOs, so I feel like there's gonna be that, but maybe, I don't know. I'm also very curious to see how much like Destiny it's gonna end up being.
Yeah, I don't want there to be constant instancing though. Like, maybe this happens in World of Warcraft too, but I feel like Destiny, like one of the worst parts about it is when you find things in the world and people, you want to do things with other people and there's nobody around because you're just instanced by yourself, like Archon's Forge or Court of Oryx, where you just sort of like have to keep going back to the same place but try to get in an instance with more people. I want this to be a more living world where it's not sectioned off into places that can only have 10 people at a time.
Yeah, that is one of the things that always held back Destiny 1 for sure. I don't know what the case is with Destiny 2. I haven't been playing that lately, but yeah, hopefully Anthem does better with that. The other thing that I almost care more about than necessarily the instancing is whether or not they can deliver a good story with interesting characters and how they handle the player character. And if there's any sort of agency in this world, because as we know from Destiny 2 and even Destiny 1, that was non-existent, and it's just been horrible as far as like story and getting into the world of Destiny. Like, some people have done it. I can't. I just can't.
Based on what I've seen, it seems like it's going to be more... It almost seems like a Monster Hunter in that, like, I don't know if there's a ton of story in Monster Hunter games.
There's not.
I think it'll be more of, like, exploring the world and, like, tackling quests and not necessarily, like, you're the most important person here, which I think hindered a lot of Destiny storytelling, where it was, like, the crux of it was you were the best guardian. Hopefully they have learned to tell it in a different way where, like, you're in a living world and things you do matter, but they don't matter so much that like it's like constant game changing. I think what's really gonna make or break it is the end game, like all these MMO kind of like hybrid games where like once you beat the game,
the looter
what's
shooter.
The day-to-day like? Yeah, looter shooter. What's the day-to-day like? Are there weekly things? Are there daily things? Like, what are you doing? What are you grinding for, basically? Maybe it won't be grinding, I don't know, but Anyway.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they handle that and how they sort of evolve it in their own way to make it so it's not just the same thing that we've seen in other games.
It's something I'm very excited about, and that's why I'm glad it is the first press conference. But the second press conference, Microsoft, something neither of us are super into because we don't have Xboxes, but Microsoft has been making this big push where like you can just like buy games on the Windows Store as well as the Xbox. So I guess we technically could play a lot of these games on PCs, but rumor is new Halo maybe, a new Gears is definitely coming out. And then in that Walmart leak, they talked about a new Splinter Cell. Have you ever played any Splinter Cell games?
I have not. I think
some of them are pretty fun.
Yeah, some of them looked pretty cool. There was one, I want to say the voice was done by the guy from 24. Maybe not.
He is the new guy.
Oh, he's the new guy.
I think it used to be Michael Ironsides.
You're probably right. I don't know. Anyway, some of them looked pretty cool. I just never got around to playing them for whatever reason.
There was a really cool one. When I was in high school, they had a demo for one that came out for PC, and it was Spies versus Mercs. So two people, it was like very interesting asymmetrical gameplay. Two people were like Splinter Cell style third person with like a bunch of crazy gadgets and stuff, and they could climb around. And two people were first person shooter type mercenaries, and the two mercenaries had to basically like protect a computer from being hacked or something. But then you could like, they could do, the Splinter Cell guys could like do crazy takedowns, and they had all the goggles and like crazy gadgets. So that was very cool. And also just like the co-op in a lot of these games is also very cool, where you like stealth games are always really fun, I feel. And I feel like Splinter Cell does a really good job, but I'd be very interested to see what this new take on it is. And so I don't know, this is not definitely happening, but that would be something I would look forward to.
Do you think this is going to be another like big game world where they try to like get a bunch of people playing it, and it's this like persistent online world where they try to support the game for years and years, kind of the way we've seen, I think, Ubisoft do with like Rainbow Six and even like Tom Clancy's.
I don't know. I don't see a lot of
Ghost
like.
Recon.
I feel like this is more of a story-based thing with like missions. It could be more of like a Hitman thing where you get like later on episodes of like missions you have to accomplish, and the co-op could be a lot more developed out, because that was something that was, I think, really fun and not as developed out. But I don't know, it remains to be seen. It's something that's definitely interesting. If it has interesting co-op and it is also on PC, that's something we could definitely check out. But
well, so the only one that I think is in this list of games for Microsoft that has not made an appearance on PC is Halo. So for sure, like Gears and Splinter Cell and Sea of Thieves, which is the next one, those are all on PC. So you don't have to have an Xbox to play them. We just have to actually get it through the Microsoft Store.
Halo Combat Evolved, I think you can get on PC, maybe.
Yeah, I think you can. It's just the newer stuff.
The newer ones, yeah. Halo was something that was very formative for me in my high school years, but yeah, I haven't played a Halo game since the last Xbox 360 one, so it's been a little bit of time, and I don't know. Apparently, from what I've heard, the last Halo game was not well received, that the story was weird for some reason, or people were not into it. I don't really know. But I know it had some excellent voice act. I know like Nathan Fillion was in it, so I assume the characters were good, but I don't know exactly what the story was.
How many of them has 343 done?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, because I guess Bungie started making Destiny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it's not Bungie anymore, so I'm not sure how many they've done up to this point.
I put Sea of Thieves DLC in here, but I don't actually know if that's a thing. Because, like, I guess the Hungering of the Deep, or whatever they're calling it, is maybe already happening, or I'm not really sure. But they could have more stuff to reveal about Sea of Thieves, like a crazy fall DLC or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if they're gonna show like some sort of DLC that will maybe bring more people into it or bring people back if they've maybe trailed off the game, but who knows.
Let's move on to Bethesda.
So we already kind of started talking about this in our news. We were talking about the Fallout something that's going to be revealed tomorrow morning.
Fallout, yeah. And it very well could be they have just a cinematic trailer for whatever their Fallout thing is, and they're like, see gameplay at our E3 press conference. So that could be something. Or you were talking about maybe it's like a new Fallout shelter, which would be, I guess, interesting. I never played the original Fallout Shelter, but
yeah, that's one of those games that I'm not sure they really need to make a Fallout Shelter 2 for. I feel like they could just do DLC for the one that exists, because I mean, it's essentially just a mobile game. You can play it on PC, but like, I don't know. Do they need to make another one of those? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, so that's something. I guess we'll find out what the Fallout thing is tomorrow, hopefully. But then there's Rage. They're going to definitely show some more Rage. There's probably going to be a thing where that we walk through some sort of sequence, and they'll show us about the driving and all that other stuff. So Rage is definitely on the table, and that's whatever. Are you excited for Rage? It seems kind of... I'm a little cooled on it, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm not super into it. I didn't play the first one either. And... excuse me, this new trailer just made it, because the original one didn't seem like it had a lot of personality. It was just sort of Mad Max or whatever. And
it had some comedy in it, and there were some good characters. It was on that id Tech engine, so it like ran real smooth and had some really detailed environments, but just like...
Well, I mean, it looked great, but the point is it didn't have its own unique voice. It just sort of looked like other post-apocalyptic stuff that existed already. And this new trailer was just sort of like trying to inject a bunch of personality into it. And
it almost seemed like BioShock in a way, because in that trailer, like you can see he has got a gun in one hand, and in the other hand, he's sort of like making these fists and like crazy stuff is happening. Like he jumps really high. So it seems like you almost have like plasmids or something in this game.
Yeah. Or like, Elder Scrolls or something where you have like powers that you can wield in one hand and then like a weapon you can have in the other.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I guess I want to see more, but at the moment I'm not, I don't know, an open world post-apocalyptic game is not something that's like high on my list of things to check out. Maybe because we have a little bit of fatigue from Fallout.
Yeah, I'm getting fatigued by it. It did look a little like there was some Doom in there as well, with like the big creatures that you would probably have to take down. So
yeah, so that's the other thing. There might be a new Doom. We talked about that earlier, but that's something I would be super jacked for.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm more interested in a new Doom than I am a new Rage.
So I guess we should do this. We didn't do it for EA or Microsoft, but since Bethesda is teasing new IPs, what could be a surprise? What could be the, just one more thing that Bethesda trots out?
Well, the new IP could be that sci-fi game that we were talking about. What was it?
Yes.
Starfield or something like that?
Starfield, yes.
It could be that. It could be that they're going to finally show off what people have been suspecting that they're making. The team that has made the Fallout games and the Elder Scrolls games are rumored to be making a sci-fi, like space opera RPG in the same vein as those games. And
which would be amazing.
That sounds right up my alley, because I love like space stuff, but I also love the way they do their RPGs. So if they could do that, but in space, I would love it.
Also, didn't you tell me that Bethesda's working on a Game of Thrones game?
There were rumors about that. I don't know that it was ever confirmed. I think that
could be something else.
I think that's something people want. I would love it, but I'm not sure that is happening for sure or not.
The figure I've heard is 2 new IPs is what they're rumored to be working on. So one of them is probably that space one. The other one is maybe the Game of Thrones one, but I guess we'll see.
Now, we all want Elder Scrolls 6, but if they're doing a new Doom and they're doing Rage 2 and they're going to show off some Fallout thing and potentially they've got 2 new IPs, I don't think it's going to happen.
No. When they do Fallout or Elder Scrolls 6, that's going to be like main stage, the only thing they're working on. Especially like, I would imagine the year leading up to it, it's just going to be like crunch time where they're going to be, the entire studio is going to be just like hammering stuff into the whatever it is, like Elsewhere or Eben, whatever. But I have a feeling like the E3 where they have the new Elder Scrolls, that is going to be the thing they talk about. Sure. It's going to be the only thing on stage, and it'll probably be the only thing people are talking about because it's going to be. I mean, it's like a Half-Life 3 that will actually come, which is exciting.
Like for sure, that'll be the case, and I'm wondering if they can keep it from leaking before that because it's such a huge thing that everyone wants. They
kept Fallout 4 from leaking.
True, they did.
Well, let's move on to Square Enix. And the number one thing I think they have to show is the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we have not really heard anything back about for a couple of years.
Do you think they're going to actually show it?
I don't know, like, because initially they were like, hey, we're doing it. It's going to be like 2 or 3 episodes. And people are like, oh, all right, whatever. Now it seems like they've walked that back a little, but I don't really know. Like, is it still going to be turn-based? Like, what's happening with it? We don't really know anything. Yeah. They had some, like, kind of gameplay to show a couple of years ago, but it was like probably just pre-rendered. I don't know. That's something I'm really interested in. Something I have no interest in, but I know everyone is jacked about is Kingdom Hearts 3. Have you ever played any Kingdom Hearts games?
I haven't. It's the kind of thing that if I was younger, I would have loved this series, and it would totally be like if I grew up on PlayStations, like I probably would have been among those fans that are super excited for this. But it just, I missed the boat. The time period where this would have fit into my life just didn't pan out for Kingdom Hearts.
I feel the same way. I feel like the main reason people like this is they're so heavily invested in the stories because the stories are so good. And plus, like, Disney keeps acquiring people, so you keep having, like, new crazy worlds to go to. But at this point, I don't think I can ever really jump on. I don't know, maybe if they come out with a crazy, like, hey, guess what? Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, you can just, like... It's $30 and you get both of them and they're HD now. That's something I might consider, but
yeah, I mean, I like Disney. It's the thing of just having not experienced anything before it and feeling like I would be lost on it.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider is something I think they're definitely going to show. I played the first Tomb Raider game, or of the new ones. I never played the second one, but it's on my to-do list. You played the first one, didn't you?
I played the first one. The second one is also on my to-do list.
It was a great game. I really liked it.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job with it. And I'm definitely interested in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It just it's going to be one of those backlog games for me. It's.
I'm sure we'll get a walkthrough of a level or like a sequence, just like we'll get with some other stuff. But what do you think their surprise will be?
From Square Enix, I am not super tuned into Square Enix, to be honest. So I have nothing to anticipate from them.
You know what Square Enix makes is Deus Ex.
That's true. Are you expecting a Deus Ex reveal of some sort?
I don't think so. It would be cool, but whatever they're working on, I know that I kind of feel like the Human... What was it? I played Human Revolutions and it was great, but then the sequel... I literally can't even remember the name of. And I feel like it kind of came and went and people didn't really talk about it, which is crazy.
It's weird. I remember Human Revolutions was like a huge deal. Like everybody was talking about that game and there were trailers everywhere. And then it
was so good too.
And then, another game came out and it just sort of like quietly flew under the radar. And I haven't heard anything about it since.
No, I haven't even heard like good or bad things about it. It just sort of happened. So... I don't know, maybe interest has cooled on that series a little bit, but I always loved it, and if they were to release another one, I would be into that. It would be cool, even if it was just like, hey, guess what, we're making another one, I would be into that, but anyway. On to what I think might be the most exciting of the press conferences, Ubisoft.
So I think it could be very cool, but I think what they have to show, a lot of it may not come out this year.
Yeah, The Division 2 has already been delayed. Is that correct?
I can't remember if that was in that thing that we talked. We already talked about it if it was, but I can't remember if that was among the games that were getting pushed back. There was like a day, like a week or two ago, where like a bunch of developers were like, "Oh yeah, this game that was highly anticipated for this year is getting pushed back to 2019." And I don't remember if this was one of them.
Do you think we'll get gameplay of? Have they said we're going to get gameplay of Division 2?
They haven't said, but I would be surprised if we didn't get even just like a short gameplay trailer. I would be surprised if we didn't get at least that. It may not show a lot of stuff that we can actually expect because, gameplay trailers are kind of notorious for not showing us what we want, but,
They're making a Division movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, yeah. You think they're
Do you think there will be integration into that?
I wonder about that. Do you think maybe they pushed it back because they wanted them to be tied together a little bit?
Well, that's what I was going to say is do you think that the Division 2 is going to have Jake Gyllenhaal in it?
That's a good question. Maybe. It might be tied into that movie. So, do you remember Defiance? That TV show that was on Sci-Fi? It wasn't great. I didn't love it, but they also they were trying to do this unique experiment where they had a TV show running concurrently with a sort of a shared world shooter MMO type of game on the 360 and PS3. And I tried to get into those because I liked the idea of it. But yeah, the show just was kind of not great, and the game was even worse. So it didn't really work. But if you had a big thing like The Division or something like that, what if there was a Division TV show or a series of movies from The Division, and they kind of tried to do that similar thing where they were this shared world between some sort of cinematic property and a game series? That would be pretty cool to me.
So The Division is something I'm very interested in because I love, even though Destiny has hurt me so many times, I love the idea of a looter shooter. And we played The Division 1 for a while, and I had a really good time. Cooperative things where you're getting loot, and you're in, especially The Division 2 had a beautiful world. The engine it was running on was gorgeous.
It looked great.
So The Division 2 is something I'm heavily anticipating. I'm very excited for anything we get on that. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is something we have talked about previously. It seems very ambitious, and I don't know how far along it is. It seems like it's not super far along, but we might get some stuff about that.
They did actually show gameplay of Beyond Good and Evil 2 last year, so that makes me think it's further along than something like a Death Stranding.
I don't even know that I would call that gameplay, though. That seemed more like a tech demo. They were just flying around in a basically empty world.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. Maybe they're not very far along, but I can see this being a 2020 release.
Skull and Bones, speaking of things that got pushed back.
Yeah, they didn't show a whole lot of this last year, so I'm not quite sure what to make of it just yet, but it was sounding like it was supposed to be sort of a Sea of Thieves competitor, but instead of you playing one pirate, you were in charge of an entire ship. And
yeah. You have a crew, I think. You can captain a ship solo, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure. So maybe this will be the thing we expected Sea of Thieves to be, which is more of a pirate Destiny. And maybe this will be that, since Sea of Thieves did not end up being that.
The problem with pirate games is if it is Destiny style and you're looking to get loot, pirates don't really have a ton of stuff. They basically have a sword and maybe a spyglass and I guess maybe a gun that you have to stuff with cloth, but
well, maybe it'll be more tied to the ship. So you're I don't know, you're going up against other pirate ships, and so then the customization and the things you are equipping yourself with are things like better sails and better cannons or more cannons or bigger cannons, different types of cannons, and your forces on board, or who knows.
In the Walmart leak, which we have referenced, there was an Assassin's Creed title,
which we don't know what to make of yet. Is it gonna be a DLC, a big meaningful DLC for Assassin's Creed Origins, or is it an entirely new thing? Is it a Switch Assassin's Creed?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I had heard rumors that they went to Greece to do sightseeing. It was the office. It was maybe just an office retreat, but it was also maybe to get ideas for a Grecian Assassin's Creed. But I don't know. I think that I'm pretty sure they said they were taking a break and they were gonna use it wasn't gonna be a yearly thing and they were gonna put more effort into it, but.
Yeah, I feel
I don't know, maybe it's turning around.
Maybe that's the next one. Yeah, I don't know. Because Assassin's Creed, the next big Assassin's Creed game, I feel has to be more than a year out. So this makes me think it's something else, probably a Switch Assassin's Creed. But we don't know.
We will see. Now, what would their surprise be?
From Ubisoft, are there any rumors that we can like key into as far as like something that we could expect them to reveal that we didn't know about? Or are there any like pre-existing franchises that we haven't seen them do anything with yet? Or recently, I guess.
They're a wild card because Ubisoft, and at the Ubisoft press conference, that's where they revealed that Mario Rabbids game.
Oh, that's true.
So, like, it could be they do another Nintendo thing, which would be great.
That's true. I didn't play the Rabbids Kingdom Battle game, but I heard it was very good. It looked pretty good.
I want to play it.
I'm definitely interested in them doing more Nintendo collaborations. I just don't know what they would be.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I don't know. We'll see. But PC Gaming Show is next on the list. And the only thing, I'm sure it'll have a ton of stuff, but the thing I'm most excited about is Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, I feel like everything else will just be like little, like more minor indie stuff. And this will be like the main show because it's what everyone wants to see.
I believe this will be the press conference where we see this. I'm just guessing, but because I don't know if it's coming out on consoles right away. I think it might just be for PC.
Oh, really?
But I don't know. I might be wrong about that. But
what happened with The Witcher 3?
I feel like The Witcher was only PC for a while. I'm not sure about that, though. And now I'm questioning whether that's true. But I believe Cyberpunk 2020 or 2077 will be at the PC Gaming Show. It could be they don't even show at a press conference. It's just news that will come out. But they have confirmed that we will see gameplay of it at E3. So at some point in the 4 or 5 days that E3 takes place, we will see gameplay footage of Cyberpunk 2077.
Have you played other CD Projekt Red games?
No, I always meant to get into The Witcher, but it was just so daunting that I never got around to it.
Well, there's going to be a TV series for it, too.
I have heard that, yeah. And everyone says Witcher 3 is just like gorgeous and amazing and so great for a number of reasons. And also CD Projekt Red is like a really great company as well, so it's good to support them.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that really praise The Witcher 3 as like one of the best games of the generation, like easily within the top like maybe 3 games of the generation, which is high praise. And I did start it, and yeah, it was really a pretty game to look at, and it was very cool. I think I just got busy doing other things, and I never went back to it, which is a thing that happens to me with a lot of games. It doesn't say anything negative about The Witcher 3. It's just that happens a lot. But yeah, I'd be very more interested in a cyberpunk like open world RPG in that style than like the old timey sort of fantasy setting that The Witcher 3 has.
We will see. That's something I am very excited about. We should maybe do like a top 5 video of top 5 things we're most excited for E3, because this would definitely make my list.
Yeah, for sure.
But Sony.
Now, this I'm also pretty excited to see their stuff, even though I think at least 2 or 3 of their games, maybe I am not super high on. And
really, which ones?
So The Last of Us Part 2 was a real downer to me. The last
E3. We should say that Sony's doing a thing where they're not showing a bunch of games. They've said they're doing a deep dive on 4 specific games: Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, and Spider-Man. So you were saying about Last of Us Part 2?
Yeah, so that one, I don't know. I'm kind of like, yeah, we were talking about how we were sort of post-apocalyptic out. That kind of is how I feel about The Last of Us Part 2 and the other, what was the zombie game that's coming out next year?
Days Gone?
Yeah, Days Gone. I'm just like, I'm all zombied out. The post-apocalyptic stuff is starting to get a little oversaturated, I think. And I'm getting to the point where I've had about as much as I can handle for a while, and I just need, like, we need to be on a break for a while with this stuff. So, yeah, and the stuff that I saw, like, the trailer they showed for Last of Us Part 2 last E3 was super, like, gruesome and dour, and I was just like, I don't know if I could handle, like, 60 hours of this. It would just, it would be a real bummer. So I don't know.
What's the other one you're not hot on?
Days Gone. but that's not among the things that they were talking about. So
I thought you said of the 4 things you were down on.
Oh no, of the Sony games that they're going to probably talk about, but I guess Days Gone isn't in the list. I'm sure they'll show something, but
yeah, they probably will.
I'm also like, I guess I'm not super into Spider-Man. But I could see that. People love Spider-Man. Like, there's like every news outlet or like gaming news outlet that I have seen, like everybody's going wild over this game. So I think this will, like, if you're a Spider-Man fan and you're super into the idea of like a big open world, like superhero game, like this one's going to knock your socks off. It looks amazing and it's going to be super cool for that audience. It's just not something that I see myself playing.
Ghosts of Tsushima.
That one I'm super interested in.
Yes, this looks like a kind of like a stealth, or I don't even know if it's more story based, but
I want to say it's more story based, but it's hard to say.
Like, it seems like you are a samurai that becomes a ninja, maybe. But I played a game, I think it was on PlayStation 2, called Tenchu, I think it was the name. And it was a game where you were just like, you could pick one of 3 ninjas and you would have to do these stealth missions. It was really fun. And I feel like a stealth game set in ancient Japan is like a really cool idea and something I'm very into. Even if it is more story-based, like, I could see this being really great.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a ton of gameplay of it either.
They only showed a very brief, like, cinematic trailer.
That's true, yeah. I don't think we saw any gameplay, actually. I think you're right.
There was no gameplay in that, and it's hard to say what that game, even the story, is going to be like, but I'm, like, super into the setting of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's old-timey, but I really think that could be very, very cool. Who was the developer again? They made Infamous, right?
Oh, really? I didn't know it was the Infamous studio.
Yeah, the Infamous developer. So they have a good track record as well.
Yeah.
And the trailer, I was super excited about, especially if it's going to be like this really cool, like, cinematic thing as well, because the trailer, like, the visuals of that were like, this could have been a movie. And it looked that good. Like, the cinematography of it was amazing. So I'm super interested in that. And I'm also very interested in the next game.
Well, speaking of cinematic, I mean, Hideo Kojima, his stuff is always cinematic, sometimes to its own detriment.
Yeah.
But Death Stranding, I think we're going to get, like, maybe not live, but we're definitely going to get some gameplay, which we've never gotten before. We've only gotten crazy, mind-bending cinematics. This is a game I am super, super excited for. Again, if we were making a top 5 list, this might be number 1, because I have not really played a ton of Hideo Kojima games, but I have followed his career and I have watched other people play them because I find it to be a little bit there's some stuff I find to be some weird design choices, and some of this is just too tedious, but this is like the game he's always wanted to make, I think, and it's going to be insane. Like, I cannot wait to see more of this because it looks crazy. I think by now we have at least like 12 or 15 minutes of cinematics from this, maybe more than that, and I still have no idea what the plot of it is.
That's how crazy it is. And like Guillermo del Toro is in it. Like,
Mads Mikkelsen is in it.
Mads Mikkelsen, like, this is like his magnum opus, I guess you could say.
Yes. I'm so jacked for it. It's crazy.
And we still have no idea what the gameplay of it's going to be like.
Yeah.
There's just
I'm very, very excited.
Yeah. And there was some like articles that popped up recently about Death Stranding multiplayer, or the multiplayer element, which I think is going to be like co-op.
That's insane.
I am not sure. Like, it was very vague. Like, there was nothing specific, but the rumor was that there's online multiplayer functionality in the works for it, and we're not sure what that means yet. The quote from Kojima was, multiplayer is also one big part of the game I can't talk too much about, but I definitely want to try something different for online. So, who knows what that means? It could mean many things, but I'm very interested to find out. And hopefully during E3, they'll have something about that.
That would be great. That would be great if they're showing like live gameplay of it and someone is playing, and then all of a sudden, like, it's in it's like a thing where the whole stage is dark and you're watching the screen above, and there's like one spotlight where someone is playing on a controller, and then all of a sudden another spotlight comes and there's another guy playing live. That would be a very cool reveal.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And he's all about that cinematic stuff, so he could definitely pull something like that off.
A surprise for Sony.
So you think they're going to have any new surprises? I guess they could talk more about something that we already know about. Maybe like a day is gone, but
I feel like Sony more than anyone gets what the press conference should be. Like they're good at being like they're good at having those and one more thing type things.
Well, they're good about just like, all right, let's cut all this like extra talking that a lot of people do and just like game trailer, like them.
So it could very well be they have something crazy in the works, some sort of PlayStation exclusive game, or maybe they've like grabbed a third party and like if Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out on PS4, maybe they've grabbed them and they're going to be like, guess what? Here's a first exclusive gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077.
Well, the one thing I think it could be is Black Ops 4 Blackout mode gameplay. Because Sony is their like sort of partner for exclusive stuff within the game. Like it's for sure coming out on Xbox One. It's just that they have like some, I guess, timed exclusivity of certain content, which
well, at their mini press conference, they were like, and the last thing they said was like, oh, we also want to thank Sony so much. We're so thankful for Sony.
Well, but
so like definitely Sony is the one.
Yeah, this is a thing that's been going on for a while. Like back in the 360 days, Call of Duty always launched their multiplayer stuff, like their new DLC content first on Xbox. And now that's just sort of reversed, where their DLC and extra content launches first on Sony. So they get some sort of deal with one of the major players, and they just kind of like do stuff with them. And usually that also means that part of that deal is that they are going to show like a piece of their game during their conference, or at least that's how it's worked in the past. I don't know if that's going to carry through this year or not, but that's how it's been going.
So you think that's where we'll get our Blackout gameplay?
Maybe that's their one more thing. One more thing, you heard about it, but here it is.
Well, so speaking of companies that are tied to Sony, chained to them even, this could be where we get our Destiny Fall update.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a very good point, because they have, I want to say it's been Sony's press conferences where we've seen the big Fall DLC for Destiny in the past. So you're right, it could very well be a Destiny reveal of some sort.
This is a very important one, because it's going to be make or break. They've had this time to kind of float because everyone bought the deluxe bundle.
Yeah.
So people have been getting the DLCs, but this is the first time you can choose to not buy a DLC. Yep. So
it's definitely a big one.
I don't know. Do you think they're going to unveil a new like element and subclass, so every class will have 4 subclasses and another element?
Basically another Taken King.
Yeah, so but also like another entire class maybe.
Well, and maybe they could do that, and then they would have to do a deep dive on where this thing came from, this other element, and maybe it would be tied to like a new race of villains instead of just like recycling. Energy? Well, I mean, that's just more recycling of past enemies that they've been taking flack for that already.
But Zach, it would be so easy for them to do.
I know, and that's why they've been doing it, and they've been getting flack for it. I feel like they have to reveal a new enemy type. And that could be one way to bring them back in. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but I feel like they need to. And that would be maybe one way of getting people excited about paying for a new DLC.
I think a new element is definitely on deck. Maybe a new class is on deck, but who can say? Like, I don't know. They're going to have to really pull out all the stops and show something that blows people away.
That's what I mean.
Because they have lost a lot of goodwill.
They've lost a lot of players. And I think like they got to pull out all the stops. If they haven't, and they haven't been doing it up to this point. They've been really resting on their laurels for some reason, and just sort of like, well, we're just going to keep launching the stuff that we had planned, and along the way, we'll just like slowly implement these changes to make it more like Destiny 1, and hope that people will keep coming back. And by the time that, you know, our fall DLC comes out, it'll basically be in the state that everybody wanted it to be in the first place. So I don't know if that's going to be enough at this point, especially with all the other games coming out this fall.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be something we should do a video on, but
yeah.
On to more less depressing stuff, I guess. Nintendo, which will definitely show Smash, but I don't know what else they'll show.
Yeah, you have on here Mario DLC, question mark?
Well, I heard a rumor. There was a rumor on GameFAQs that came out where someone claimed to have seen or have knowledge of a 37-minute Nintendo Direct that was in the works for E3, and in it there was some pretty interesting stuff that maybe is true. Like, I don't know how legitimate this is, but they had talked about a Mario DLC where you could play as Luigi, and Luigi has 80 Luigi-specific moons that you can get. And also Wario and Waluigi are playable characters that also, each of them have 80 specific moons. So no new worlds, but in the worlds there are new moons with new characters, with maybe new movement. I'm not really sure. There was some other stuff that is like less legitimate. One of the things though was like, it said that Call of Duty Battle Royale is going to be available on the Switch, but just the Battle Royale.
Really? So just the blackout mode?
Yes.
I'm not sure if the Switch is actually powerful enough to run the game at 60 frames a second. Mm-hmm. So I'd be curious if they can pull that off, especially since like Nintendo's online mode isn't launching until the summer or later.
Very true.
I'm not sure how they even show that off. I guess it'd just be something they would say.
Online Splatoon right now.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's just free.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely we're going to get some stuff about their online stuff. They're not calling it the virtual console anymore. It's like been rebranded as something else, but they'll probably show off some of the online features and some of the games you'll be getting with the new multiplayer functionality. I would hope there's some form of Mario DLC. If it's not new characters, like I would love for a new world or a couple new worlds to be released.
Yeah, that would definitely get me to jump back into that game. I haven't played it since I finished it, last year, but I would definitely consider jumping back in if they had some new worlds and, like you were talking about, new playable characters and a lot of new moons to go grab. I would definitely do that.
There could be news on the new Metroid, which we know is happening, but we haven't seen a single frame of. But the main course is going to be Smash.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing that most people are excited for with as far as the Nintendo show goes. I would definitely like to see some Metroid Prime gameplay, or at least something, give us something. But
now here's something I just thought of. We talked in the first part of this podcast about the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and in that they had the crazy Pokeball joycon, which is the first like custom joycon. People speculated when it was still called the what did they call it? What was the Switch called before we knew what it was? I used to subscribe to the subreddit with a bunch of rumors.
I was not, so I have no idea.
Anyway, before we knew what the Switch was, and there were just rumors of what it was, people were like, oh yeah, like definitely it's going to have controllers that come off of it. They were predicting the Joy-Cons, but they were also like, yeah, and there's going to be custom Joy-Cons where like, if you're playing a fishing game, the right Joy-Con, you can buy a specific Joy-Con that like has like a fishing reel on it or whatever, or like buy a specific right Joy-Con that has like a gun handle on it or whatever. And so we have this first like purpose-made Joy-Con with this Pokeball Joy-Con. What if Smash is the same thing where like, hey, Smash comes with, or you can also buy for Smash 2 additional like miniature controllers so you can do 4-player co-op, not co-op, but like versus. So you have the 2 traditional Joy-Cons that come with the Switch, but if you want a 4-person like battle royale, then you can also buy packs of these new miniature Joy-Cons that are like specifically made to play Smash.
That could be interesting. Although I think the Pro controller is just the like Smash Brothers controller, essentially.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Or I think you can actually plug in a GameCube controller, so maybe people will be doing that.
Oh, you can?
Yeah,
I didn't know
I think
that.
you have to have. I mean, obviously, you have to have a way to plug it in. I'm not sure how you do it.
It has to be docked.
Well, yeah, but like you have to have the converter thing. But
I'm talking about a mobile solution for 4-player battle royale.
Yeah, well, and to your point about like interesting types of controllers or whatever, like the Wii did all these things where you would just take the regular controller and just like put it in this like plastic thing that was shaped like a gun or like a tennis racket or some other thing, or like a steering wheel for Mario Kart. I wonder if they'll start doing any of that with the Switch. Like they kind of do that with the cardboard stuff.
Labo?
Yeah, Labo. But I mean, like, I don't know. They could make the plastic peripherals and do that. I'm not sure if they will, but that could be a thing that they start doing.
I don't know. So other things. Oh, so what do you think their surprise is going to be? I mean, it could be that Call of Duty Blackout is coming to the Switch. That would be insane. They're probably also going to talk about Pokemon, which we have done.
Yeah.
Even though it's already revealed.
I feel like a lot of stuff could potentially be coming out on Switch. Like maybe Bethesda brings Fallout 4 to the Switch, or like the past Fallouts, or maybe what was the other one? I don't know. Maybe Call of Duty has something for Switch, whether it's just one of their multiplayer modes or maybe it's their own game altogether. Who knows?
Other odds and ends we didn't talk about. Borderlands 3 was part of that Walmart leak. I don't know where that would slot in. Maybe Microsoft.
That was the stuff the game that was rumored to have been pushed back to next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Remember they were talking about, it was a game that was not announced yet that everybody was assuming was Borderlands 3 that was being pushed back to next year. But because it wasn't even announced yet, it was just like, well, whatever.
The other one that was on the Walmart thing was Just Cause 4, which could be slotted in anywhere pretty much also.
Yeah, I haven't played the Just Cause games.
They're okay. They're pretty fun, but I've never really gotten into them either. Also, I guess we should have talked about this in Sony, but a Sony exclusive game that people love is Bloodborne, and they showed a 30-second clip last year of just like, it was just like a really taut chain that was like being pulled and like maybe some like groaning or like ghoulish screaming. People were pretty sure that was a Bloodborne tease, but they didn't say. But Bloodborne 2 is supposedly in the works, and that could be Sony's like one more thing is check it out. Here's Bloodborne 2, which is a great game and everyone should check out.
Yeah, maybe that'll be their big surprise.
I don't know. We'll see. But so that's our first E3 talk. We'll probably talk a lot more about E3 next week as well, because I'm sure more stuff is going to come out, and we'll do our top 5s in that. But look for when E3 happens. We're going to have a ton of videos, so look for that. But do you have any parting thoughts on preliminary E3 speculation?
Nope. Just be excited because it's a very fun time, and let us know what you're anticipating, what you want to see, what you're very most excited for, and maybe some surprises that you're hoping gets revealed, and then maybe we'll talk about them on the next show.
Yes. We're running a little long, but do you want to talk about what we're watching, playing? Sure,
we can get into that. We're hopefully going to do its own Starside Flicks for Solo, a Star Wars story. I saw it this weekend. You have not. So
no, I will probably see it on Saturday.
So yeah, once you see it, maybe we can do like a deep dive Starside Flicks on it.
Yeah, that sounds good. The other thing that I have been watching, I am 6 episodes into the new season of Arrested Development Season 5. It's pretty good. I didn't realize this, but they're cutting it in half. So only 8 episodes are available right now. And then maybe later this year, I'm not entirely sure when. I think it's all been shot. they're releasing the other 8. So there's 8 episodes out there right now. If you have Netflix, definitely check it out. I am still ruminating on it a little bit, and I haven't finished it yet. But I love Arrested Development, and the 4th season some people didn't like, but I enjoyed it. So any new Arrested Development I feel like is good. So I've been liking it. Do you think you'll watch it?
Well, I don't have Netflix anymore.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the Jeffrey Tambor controversy?
It's weird because, like, even in the show, it doesn't, like, I don't know. I am not super into him. Like, even just, like, pre this, he was not super funny to me. But I could definitely take or leave him. And it's weird. Like, did you see that crazy interview where, like, the mom was, like, crying and stuff?
Yeah, and then all the guys on the show were, like, trying to talk over her and, like, excuse his behavior.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I feel like he'll definitely be out if they do another season.
Well, they said they wouldn't do another season without him.
It's crazy because, like, it seems like, unless this is a joke that hasn't paid off yet, it seems like he's very suicidal this season. So, like, I think it would be very easy for them to just be like, oh, he's dead. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that, like, it seems like his main arc this season is that he wants to kill himself.
Yeah, maybe they, like, foresaw some of this coming, because I feel like there was a controversy on one of his other shows as well. So maybe they were trying to come up with a way to get rid of him.
What's this Monument Valley 2?
Oh, do you not remember this game? So these are, like, I want to say games from last year that I remember being highly praised. They're mobile games, and I played
the first Monument Valley. It was fun.
Yeah, I played the first one. I loved the aesthetic of it. The soundtrack's really good, and it's just like a puzzle game that's very, very fun. And there is a little bit of story to it. There's no dialogue, obviously. It's just sort of a visual thing, and yeah, it's really, really good. I highly recommend it. I just happen to have been playing it over the weekend.
How much is it? It's like $4 probably?
It's a few dollars. I don't know the exact price of it. The other one is Florence, which is also a game I want to say came out last year. I don't recall exactly when it came out.
I have not heard of this. What is this?
So think 500 Days of Summer as done in the style of, like, the intro to Up, where it's like music and no dialogue, but it's this really interesting game that's about, like, a relationship, and so it's kind of a visual novel, I guess, as well.
That's interesting.
And so there's, like, it's pretty short to get through. I want to say you can get through it in like a half hour, 45 minutes, but you just, like, have some interactions to do, but you play as Florence, I guess, or you're, like, it's from her perspective, and you meet this guy and you fall in love, and it basically goes through all the stages of a relationship, even up to, like, I don't know if I want to spoil how the rest of it works out, but
no, you shouldn't, because I think I might play this. This sounds interesting to me.
You should definitely play it because it's excellent. The music's great. I've been listening to the soundtrack on Google Play Music lately because I'm really into it. But yeah, the art style is pretty nice. It's kind of like, it looks hand-drawn to me. And yeah, if you like 500 Days of Summer, which I liked a lot, and you liked the intro to Up, which I also liked quite a bit, this will be right up your alley.
Cool. All right, well, I think that about wraps it up. We went a little long, but E3 stuff. So check out our video. We'll have some stuff later in the week. We'll probably cover whatever Bethesda unveils tomorrow, if they unveil something tomorrow. And I found a cool little indie game that I think I'm going to get called Bunker Punks. Have you heard of that?
I haven't. What's that about?
We don't have to get into it right now, but I think I'm going to get some gameplay of that and show that to you. And you were talking about... you have some stuff about the Overwatch anniversary, is that right?
Yeah, so all this week, I think I want to say it started this last week, actually. They've been, like, every day they've been on a rotation for their arcade modes where, like, the seasonal event mode, like the highlight seasonal event mode has been rotating. And so, yeah, I've played and recorded footage of each of them basically as they've been rolling out, so we can go through those because I want to say you haven't played any of them.
No. I'm trying to think. I know what Lucio Ball is, but I don't know any of the other ones, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so maybe this week and into next week, we'll get some videos up of those game modes just so we can show them off. I know not everyone's into Overwatch, but I'm super into it, so I kind of want to do stuff with it. And maybe you'll get to check out these arcade modes and you'll realize how much fun it is and you'll start playing it as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, well, thank you for joining us on another ep. Next week's episode will probably also be about E3, so look forward to that. Until then, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.